All right, welcome back to our 10-week case study. We're 1 week in. We're going to look a little bit at what we're doing. So in terms of the agenda, first we'll talk about what we've done, kind of a progress report on that. Then we'll look at some of the metrics and see what kind of effects that we're having, and then we'll talk about the goals for the future and how Graibox is helping this website, joehomebuyerutahlocation.com. We threw a bunch of data into our data warehouse to be able to look at it more easily. Here's just kind of a state of the union, if you will. So June 19th, that's the day before we started the last video. The baseline was on June 20th. All these dated June 19th are really June 19th or before. So first off, you look at where we were. Total of 91 pages, 72 of those location pages. We had done one Graibox page already, a few blog pages, things like that. As of today, well, as of yesterday, really, we made it to our 50 pages. So now the total website's at 141 pages. You can see the Graibox pages kind of taking a bigger proportion of that. And then I threw a word count one on here as well, so you can see the pages that we have are a little bit longer. We've been doing long form content, so we're up to about 137,000 total words now on the website. Coming down, total impressions since we started is 1,100, or a little over 1,100, and then 12 clicks. We'll probably change these goals later, but at least for now, gives us something to shoot for. So an average month since the website's been around is 39.5 clicks per month. The highest month ever is 68. So we put those up there. We'll climb up. We're obviously 1 week in. We'll climb up and see what we can do. So talking just a little bit about how it works. When you start publishing new pages, the first thing that you need to do is have Google crawl them and index them for them to be relevant. A lot of times when you change the cadence that you're publishing, it takes just a little bit of time. I thought that would be helpful to look at. So if you look back here, so we started publishing on the 20th. So that's an old site that was already there. That's our first one. That's one of our new pages. It was indexed the 21st. And then just in looking at it, you can see it's indexed about 20 or so pages of the newer ones. Actually less than that, because some of these are older ones that it's still re-indexing. So most of the 50 pages that we've done have not actually been indexed yet. And then again, the 21st was last Friday, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, it was last Wednesday. So they started the day after. They started indexing. Indexing is still going on. We'd expect whatever we're seeing in the future to keep getting better as more and more of those pages become visible. One other thing that's pretty exciting, we actually had one. If you look down here, organic search, we actually had one conversion this last week. We also, if you look here, this is an amazing number. I don't know if it'll stay at that or not, but on average, when people are coming in through organic search, they're coming almost 3 times, and then they're spending almost 8 minutes on our website, which is phenomenal, and got that one conversion. And by way of comparison, I can pull up here and just look. If we look at like the last 90 days or something like that, you can see again, we're not converting very much. Organic search is obviously down here at the bottom. The whole reason we're here is to bring it up. But if you look, organic search, so in the last 90 days, it's had 4. One of them was last week. Hopefully that's a trend, obviously, going forward. I don't know what this following week will bring. Hopefully it's a lot of good conversions. Okay, let's jump back in and dive into some of the details on it. So this, again, I pulled the Search Console into here for a couple reasons. Number one, if you remember, on our search page, we had the 2 different sites, the HTTPS and the HTTP. So I combined them in here, and then I also filtered it out to just give us the United States ones. I figured that was probably a better measure of what we're doing. So running down really quickly. So top right, really nothing to talk about here, just showing how people are getting to us. If that changes in the future, we can talk more about it, but nothing really to discuss today. Impressions up just a little bit week over week. And then average position has gone down, so that's a good thing. It's gone from 42 down to about 35. So just a little bit of an improvement. We obviously want to keep going. Click-through rate has improved. That's obviously great. Our clicks are up. And just to talk about how these work, really what our goal is. So we want more impressions. Those will naturally come. If you publish even lousy content, impressions will come up. What we really want here is these average position and click-through rate, and they really work together. If you click, let's see, if we drill down and look at the day, just to show better, it's pretty obvious, but the better your position is, the better your click-through rate is. And that's obviously people coming to your website, being able to receive and understand your message, and then if they're a good fit, hopefully clicking through and converting. And if you look at it by day, and again, the purpose of the day isn't so much for the trend. There's more noise in that, but just to show when our average position is lower, meaning we're higher up in the page, our click-through rate's higher as well, and that's really what we're trying to attack is that number. So if you see here, when we drop down and we're in the 30s or down even into the 20s on our average position, you can see that's when our click-through rate's high. And then as our, the 25th, so day before yesterday, the last day we have data for, it was higher and our click-through rate's lower. That's not a coincidence. That's how it works. When we put a whole bunch of new pages on there, what ends up happening is Google will try us out with different search queries, and so that's why, particularly when we have such a small volume, while you'll see that average position being pretty volatile, but what we're wanting to see is over time that to slowly come down, and then obviously our click-through rate to go up, which will give us more clicks. In looking over here on the right side, we can see the different search terms. This null up here are anonymized ones. And then you can see really the biggest change in terms of impressions is this top one, Joe Homebuyer Utah, jumped up a lot. And then you can still see in terms of our biggest impressions, those branded ones are bigger, are the biggest, I should say. A lot of Salt Lake ones, which we'll want to obviously do more on that. And so on and so forth. You can also see our clicks. And again, all of our clicks are coming from these top couple queries. So the 3 branded ones, and then this one. Oh no, just the branded ones. I'm sorry. So the anonymized ones that we don't have visibility on, and then these ones up here. And then down here you can see, and again you can see if we've made any progress and what's happening, kind of term by term. So you can see Joe Homebuyer Utah. Clicks are up. Average position is actually up as well. If we scroll down and see if there's anything interesting that jumps out. So a lot of them, a lot of them have just a little bit of improvement, 64 to 62, things like that. If we scroll down, I think we got some new terms this week that we hadn't looked for before. So there, let's see if we can find one. So like down here, these ones where they're only on the 19th. So cash for houses near me, cash home buyers, Murray, Utah, things like that. Those are terms that we hadn't listed for the week before. We did this week. Some higher than others. That's actually a pretty good position on that one as well. So anyway, that's where it's at. And then in terms of the URLs, so in terms of impressions, the HTTPS homepage one is the highest, and then the HTTP one has the most clicks and a decent number of impressions as well. That's pretty exciting right there. We went from 7 down to 4 on that one particular page. And as we're writing these pages, one thing that sometimes people don't understand is really the rising tide lifts all the boats. So if you look here, these date published, they're all old. So Google actually hasn't sent anybody to any of our new pages. And yet you can see if I scroll down, they're sending them to more of our pages. So last week they sent us to 15 different pages. This week it's been to 20. And again, they're not necessarily the new pages, but what happens is we are able to publish more about what we're doing on the website, things like that. Then the first page Google will send them to is the home page. And you'll see other pages about us, other ones that are older that will actually be the recipients of that new work that we're publishing. And then over time, our new pages will start to publish as well, or we'll start to get visits as well, which is great. There's one interesting one actually to show that. So look at this Farmington one. So in this Google Data in the Looker Studio, I just have the recent data, but let's dive into this Farmington one just 'cause it's kind of interesting. So if I look here, and then I look, so let's go to our HTTP, and then let's look at our pages, and then let's find that Farmington one. And I just wanted to show you something interesting about the tide raising all the boats. So if you look, and then let's go for a long time, and then let's see the impressions as well. And again, Farmington wasn't a word that we were targeting, but if you see, this is a page that historically got some number of impressions, and obviously not a lot of clicks at all. And then they basically died, so Google kind of stopped serving that page. And then now with some of what we've published, it started serving it up again, and in an okay position, right? We'd obviously like it to be better, but 25 is better than some of the pages, and that's what we'll continue to see as we keep publishing. Is more of these pages will start to rank better and better. Let's come back here. Let's see, anything else interesting that we want to look at. Let's look really quick. Let's look at our top page really quick and just see if there's anything that stands out on that. So again, that's the HTTP version of the home page, that top one. And let's just see if there's anything that's interesting as it's loading. As it's slowly loading, I should say. Well, maybe it's loading. I guess we will find out. And I guess while it's loading, we just talk a little bit more as far as our game plan going forward. So this next week, we're going to pretty much do the same thing as this week and try to publish 50 more articles. We'll keep them pretty much the same in terms of the list that we're working down, those keyword lists that we were given by the SEO provider. We'll keep doing those. The following, so we'll do that for one more week, and then we're going to really dive into these location pages. So we're going to dive into Salt Lake and Farmington and some of these other cities and see what kind of progress we can make on this. I wanted to do one more week with the general ones. Number one, just to show as part of our case study what's happening, and as we apply different tools, kind of be able to see the difference that it's making. And then the other thing is just that we want to build up a big corpus of text that's general text, so that we understand what we're talking about, and then we'll start to specialize more on those location ones. So yeah, big takeaway right there. Like we said before, the average position has really dropped, which is fantastic. And then there's a couple branded ones, a couple location ones. Yeah, and those are kind of the biggest ones we're getting impressions on. The clicks are again all branded ones, and wow, the click-through rate's really doing that's really quite remarkable to have it double like that. So yeah, so that's kind of a state of the union. That's where we're at. Subscribe to the channel. Next week, see what another week has done. I'm anticipating pretty big changes. Normally the first week is the smallest change, and then over time the changes keep getting bigger. Sometimes they'll plateau, but I would anticipate next week being any bigger. If you want help with your website, if you're looking at this saying, man, I wish my click-through rate had doubled last week, contact Graibox, reach out to us. And we'd love to help you. If you're interested in your website being a case study, reach out to us for that as well, and we'd be happy to help you in whatever way we can. That's all we've got for today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for taking time to listen to us.